if they're going to go off and tell their mates, their colleagues, yeah, I watched a video. What was it
Yeah.
about? Give us a little snapshot that they should take away with them. What are the key takeaways?
I think that they will keep this as a secret
Yeah.
because they'll
And,
keep
and
this.
watch the other videos in the series. We're here basically to talk about what, why, who, and where, and how of customer experience. So today we're just going to focus on the, oh, what was it, Sid? Where are we starting off today?
So I guess it was starting off with who, if I'm not mistaken. Who are we talking?
Correct. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure you were fully prepared for
No, I
what's
was.
ahead.
I'm awake now. I'm awake.
Yeah. Who? So expand on that. Where's the conversation going to start?
I think the most critical aspect for us to understand is, is there anything like a segment? So, because a lot of times, either if it's a customer experience designer or a marketing person, you're always looking at who's my segment. And what I've done to understand is, what the definition of an expert is, that he knows more and more of less and less. I think the reverse has happened, wherein you know less and less of more and more. We are getting so much of data. We're getting so much of data, not just from AI and Chat GPT, but even before that, data was always available. But what's happened because of that is that the definitions of a segment have become kind of fluid. So it's not very specific, like, okay, I'm going to target between 18 to 25, London, etc. So it's not that anymore. What's really happened is that young have become young at heart, and housewives include house husbands. So you don't really know what it is from a quantitative demographic perspective anymore. And it's also not directly connected to the end product as well. Because, who drinks a Coke? Almost everybody and anybody drinks a Coke. So the aspect of perhaps what a segment is has become a bit more fluid.
Do you think
And
that's the same, or that obviously is B2C? Do you think that also applies in the B2B market?
100%. Because if I look at, the generations that are working in the workplace right now and the decision makers, they're split up between Gen Zers and millennials and, even Gen Xers and some baby boomers as well, because, people are working for longer time periods in their lives. And so you really don't know who the influencers are and who the decision makers or the buyers are, and they're not typically in a specific profile. So if you're going to create a product for a specific segment profile saying, oh, 40 to 50 age group decision makers, it's not really going to work that well.
In terms of archetypes and personas,
Yeah.
how are they connected, and do they really fit? Is there, in this world of what you're actually describing now, where actually we've got to sort of rewrite the copybook, is there place for archetypes and personas?
So I'm glad that you brought this up, because I don't think people really understand archetypes all that well. I mean,
Okay.
Carl Jung actually started something around archetypes a really long time back, and it was not really connected to either customer experience or marketing. So marketers really got into persona development as an antidote for segments getting absolutely crazy. And in a hyper personalization sort of world, what became true was that, okay, we need personas, so we need some kind of fix on whom we are actually talking to, and that's where personas came in. But they came in without the knowledge of building an archetype.
So
And
do you want to just break it back down to a lower level? So
mm,
if people are watching and archetypes, what the hell is that? What
exactly.
purpose do they serve, and what are they?
I mean, all behavioral psychologists are going to kill me right now, but essentially, if I look at archetypes, humanity can be divided into, certain types of people, stereotypes, to be honest. So you can look at 12 archetypes or 18 or 20, or you have a set number of people who, all of us fit into. And it's quite likely that we don't move from being one archetype to the other, and maybe we have two or three dominant archetypes, like there's the joker and the sage and stuff like that. So most people don't really use archetypes as the base for building personas. They just start describing Alice, and Alice does this and all of that, but they don't look at the archetype that Alice actually belongs to, or the dominant archetypes that Alice belongs to, maybe. So that's
Yeah.
the starting. And another thing which I've also realized about persona development, which is critical, is most persona development exercises don't really understand one fundamental thing, that Alice is different on different platforms. So when I say Alice on, when I see Alice on LinkedIn and Alice on Instagram, and these are different Alices. And so then exactly which persona are you tapping into? And especially if you're looking at an omni-channel sort of situation, are you talking to a schizophrenic Alice, all just with tongue firmly in cheek? But are we looking at a sort of a different type of persona building exercise than what is normal? So again, like segments, personas are also very fluid now.
Keeping on personas for a sec. So obviously when you're building out a product, creating a service, whatever, and you create your custom personas, and you may have 3, 4, 5, however many you feel fit the criteria. What are the things we miss out on? What falls between the gaps of those personas?
I think the most critical aspect, I don't know what you think, but a lot of times we are trying to build in certain aspects into one persona, trying to make sure that whatever story we are going to create is going to appeal to this fictitious person, but we don't recognize that this is a fictitious person. So we are just becoming extremely provider centric, and it's just because we want to fit into a fictitious. It's not going to work. What we have to go with is reality, which means that we need to really understand what works and what doesn't, and base it on something except from our product perspective. So we are looking at it from a product first perspective rather than what reality is. I think even if people just take this away from this video, I think it'll be worth it for them.
Yeah. I mean, I think also as well, personas, creating those personas is just part of the journey that's been there. And it's like that box has to be ticked.
Yeah.
So what are you suggesting should go in that box instead? What box should we be ticking to understand our target audience, our target customers?
I personally think that it's a working box. Instead of a working document, it's a working box. So maybe we should forget about ticking the box. And in fact, you and I were having a conversation offline just right now, wherein you suggested that, we shouldn't be doing something just for ticking that box off. And I really like that, because a lot of times we're looking at customer experience development as an exercise. Okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. But it's not reaching anywhere, is it? Unless and until you come at the true insight that is going to shift behaviors from an emotional perspective and from a behavioral perspective. And unless and until we know that, it's not going to work. Yeah.
And that, I suppose, ties in to the customer journeys, the whole user experience.
Yeah.
And customer journeys, are they straightforward? Are they convoluted? I think we know the answer, but what's your take on it?
I think a lot of us, we marketers and customer experience designers, we want the world to be rational and logical so that it fits in nicely. And customers are not that. Customers are very messy. I don't think people start off with a brand X versus brand Y sort of thing ever. I don't think that there is any linear customer journey, to be honest. It's convoluted. It moves from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. And even within the brain itself, you have the prefrontal logical sort of situation going on. Then you have the limbic system with the emotions, and then you have your reptilian brain. And all of these things are playing together. And so where is this decision being made, right? Where's this decision being made and who's doing it really is very contextual. So I think whenever you're looking at customer journey, we are forgetting the power of the context. We don't really take the context into the picture.
And what difference will that make? What's the end goal?
So if you relate it back to Alice and what Alice is on LinkedIn, well, LinkedIn is a context. And if Alice is at an event, well, that event is another context. And if Alice is with a bunch of friends at the mall and she sees a pair of black jeans and she decides to buy it, and she goes into the trial room, comes out, and her friends say, nah, it doesn't suit you, makes you look too thin, she's not going to buy it. But if she was on Amazon and she saw the same thing, and she would have bought it. So Alice is different as a tribal person, and Alice is different as an individual person. So there are, the context of a mall, of LinkedIn, of an event, of e-commerce or social commerce, all of them are bringing out different aspects.
Yeah. And I suppose, finally, what would you say drives people down those different customer journeys?
I think it is about intellectually understanding that this is good for me, but then emotionally getting connected enough to do that behavior. So it is a combination. Now, I'm not saying that one goes for the other. Sometimes you're emotionally connected. You know, I just love that house. For example, I don't know why, but there's just a feeling that I got when I saw that house. And then you intellectually rationalize it. So it happens the other way around. What is really critical for building a customer experience is knowing the sequence and trying to predict the sequence as to how it is going to happen, how the dance is going to happen.
I think really the journeys, as you say, are completely different as where you get on and what environment you're in, as to how you actually get to the end point. But you could still literally all have that same end point, which is obviously in most cases conversion or purchase.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
yeah.
It is. And also post-purchase. Let's not forget post-purchase. And I think that the critical aspect of most people don't understand how important it is to actually get those same customers back in, because they're already, and they will be talking and producing that word of mouth as well. So the customer journeys completely neglect that.
Yeah, no, completely. And as you know, the cost of acquiring new customers is always greater than that of retaining existing ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the marketing bucks all go on the new ones, don't they?
Yeah, I know. It's
Excellent.
unfair. The world is unfair. It's not logical.
Just in wrapping up, so some people obviously have finished watching this video, watched this all the way through. If they're going to go off and tell their mates, their colleagues, I watched the video. What was it about? Give us a little snapshot that they should take away with them. What are the key takeaways?
I think with the kind of questioning that you've done, we've gone to a first principle basis and actually questioned fundamentals of either a segment or personas or archetypes or customer journeys, and maybe all the factors that play into those, like platforms and algorithms and maybe contexts and the rest of it. And I think when we started off, we said, who are we talking about, or who are we talking to? When we are looking at the who, we have to consider all of this. And I think that going down to a behavioral biology place or going down to a behavioral economics place are way more fundamental than just doing some superficial stuff to tick off a box. So I think that's what somebody who's seen to the end of this should refer to his mates. But I don't think they will, Nick. I think that they will keep this as a secret.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, Sid. And we will catch up soon and deliver another one of these.
Oh, you should, and you please check out Mayank Yadav. He's amazing as a quick bowler. I'm telling you.
Excellent.
Yeah. So let's talk about cricket. What do you think of Mayank Yadav, man? He's so quick.
Who? Okay, so I put some stuff on the board.
I can see that. Next time, just put blank canvas in. I think that'll work so well.
Well, that can be done.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay. Yeah, that's so cool. It looks so... Hey, by the way, it's not Kavas. You missed out an N there. So that's it's...
The bloopers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. Let's go.
Cool.